Hello and welcome back to Marvel Puzzle Quest with me, PiMacleod. We're on day 4228. Looks like a lot of empty spaces here, but 25 CP coming up. Meh. Anyways, we are here to not do Welcome to S.H.I.E.L.D. We did a little bit of that yesterday. And we'll do the rest of it tomorrow when days 3 and 4 are both active. In other words, we can run the rest of them all in one, straight game. There'll be only 5 nodes to hit, and we can do it together. Beyond that, though, today is just going to be Crash the Titans, because, well, we didn't do it yesterday because we were kind of busy with Riri and Mockingbird and really exploiting the new Moonstone stuff, weren't we? I think we were. Let's get into it. Story, Deadpool Daily. Now, if you know who it is, and even if you don't know who it is, fun fact, I already got this Crash the Titans on our Crash the Titans playlist on my channel on YouTube. He's been in there at least 2 times already that I could think of. Back in 2021, he had a Crash the Titans. He's had one in late 2022, and it's been since then that hasn't had one. It's mainly because they've ramped up so many 4-stars. We have so many 4-stars in the game now that it takes a long time to get back around through the rotation to get to him again. This time it's Miles Morales. He's crashing again, and it's the same crash it's been on the other ones. But I went and did us all a favor. I looked at my last one for he goes against Spider-Woman. Spoilers. And it was without the camera. It was without the equipment. It was without my editing. I figured I have the moment. I do have a little bit of time. Let's edit it and make it look a little better and, add the current flair that we have going on this channel, right? Might as well make it look up to date. But I'll still keep them all in the playlist. I kind of like to have a timeline of the progression of how we've grown, right? Anyways, let's get into it. Spider-Woman, one of the earliest characters in MPQ to have the title Spider in their name. She was very early 4-star. She was not the earliest Spider person, no, but like at the same time, she was pretty darn early to the game. Before the whole idea of having so many characters stocked with webs, before that being an even a meta option or a type of gameplay. She came into the game with a tool set that was kind of reminiscent of Elektra, and to this day she's kind of compared to 4-star Elektra in some respects. Unfortunately, the worst aspect about her is everything's kind of costly with her. If you're going to speak about anything positive about Spider-Woman, it is that when she does hit, she hits hard, and she does have really good defensive mechanism for just avoiding just damage, period. Just getting out of dodge and not being there for the damage. But unfortunately, it's her black, and it requires 10 AP to cast. It's Seeking Retribution, and if the attack is going to do X amount or more damage, she lowers it down to the tiniest little piddly amount of damage, and then you see a little backflip animation or whatever, and she's out of there. She doesn't take the most of the damage. It's really a pittance that she takes. If it's under that threshold, if it's less than that amount of damage, she just ignores all of it and just says nah. It is only a countdown she makes that does this for her, though. So if the enemy removes that countdown, or if you accidentally remove that countdown, guess what? You're still vulnerable all over again. So try to protect that countdown as best you can if you're going to use her. That purple was it To Love and Fear? It creates... Oh, let's see. If you choose to fear, which is one of my favorite uses for it, it makes 4 trap tiles, and they're super strong, and they're each independent. They each have their own damage amount and do a lot of damage by themselves. Unfortunately, they only trigger if the enemy matches them, and they're put out there randomly. They're really strong traps for the 4-star game, and if you can get it to work, great. It's random, and they have to be matched. And they have all the vulnerabilities that traps always have, so it's not really the best power for bang for your buck. But if it works, hey, you're probably laying someone out. The other use for it is To Love, the heart version that will appear on your screen, which basically allows you to remove 6 random enemy tiles. It just gone. It could be anything. Could be, invisibilities, protects, countdowns, repeaters, just gone. Just gets rid of them. It's a really good use of it too if the enemy's got a full board of nonsense going on, but it really depends on where you're at in the current game you're playing. For that reason, a lot of people I think would put this ability down to 3, if only for the fact that her purple is got an unreliable trap making effect, and the love effect on it requires there to be enemy tiles for it to be effective. The other thing is her red. It's really costly. I want to say it's at least 12 red, if not higher. We'll have to see when we get in there if I remember. But it's really costly. It does a good nuke, good chunk of damage to the target you're hitting, and can do, I want to say, some damage to the teammates as well. Maybe even a stun built in. It's been a while since I've used it though, but still, all of her powers are pretty darn expensive, like 10 plus for all of them, and it's just, this is why she's going to lose this fight. It's not because she's got horrible powers, it's because everything's overpriced. If they were half cost and half the number effect, I think most people would be a lot happier with that. You could fire them off more often. Anyways, I'm sorry about that. Hey John, good to see you. Good to see you on YouTube. What's up Mark? Good to see you on Twitch. Got up to 100 CP, still a long way to go. Okay, yeah, keep saving it up, man. Good job to save that CP for someone you really like. Okay, so let's get into it. Who are we going to thwart Spider-Woman with? None other than our 4-star Miles Morales. First off, I'm going to take off these boosts because we don't need those for this fight. Miles Morales came in a bit later than Spider-Woman, although he's still one of the earliest. He came out, years and years ago, way back in the first half of the game. Shoot, even earlier. He's been around for a while now. Miles Morales came into MPQ with a set of web powers that made everyone rethink, like, well, webs could be really useful, couldn't they? He became not really a bruiser, but a support character in the web making scene. And if you were able to abuse these webs, and still to this day it holds true, you could make AP hand over fist and stay safe while doing it. One of his best abilities is hide and seek. It's a purple that only costs 6. That's nice and cheap. We all know nowadays with supports you could start with 6 if you wanted. You make 5 basic tiles into webs, and then also a purple invisibility tile that targets him. And so while that invisibility tile is out there, that power becomes surprise, which only costs 8 purple. So if you want to add the two together to get like a full strength assessment, that's 14 AP altogether. But I guarantee you probably don't want to fire them together, except for maybe in one specific instance. I'll get to that. For 8 purple, he deals a nice sizable chunk of damage. For the cost of 8, it's really good. Of course, keep in mind, you had to spend 6 to get here, right? Anyways, and then plus additional damage for each web on the board. It doesn't say max. You can have up to 64 tiles on the board. That's how many is out there. It's an 8x8 grid. And that much damage for each extra web. It's a really good power, really good damage for that cost. Plus, of course, you remove any friendly hide and seek tiles, which is the invisibility tile he makes. If that tile gets removed any other way, it goes back to being hide and seek. Let's say you're using Miles Morales, and this is honestly kind of common while you're coming up through the game, and if you have Miles Morales, you could use him to 1-on-1 or 1-on-3 a lot of people if the going gets rough. You can go invisible, and as long as the enemy doesn't have any way to take care of your invisibility tile or do team damage, which gets around it, you can literally hide there invisible with your little invisible tile. Rack up some webs while you're at it. His yellow helps makes webs as well. Once you get to 14 purple, and yes, I know it's a large number, you could cast Surprise to come out of hiding, do a big chunk of damage, right? And then cast Hide and Seek right away, right afterwards. Go right back to invisibility. You're nice and safe once again, and just keep on playing. He's a great character to do the impossible with, as long as the enemy team isn't able to thwart your impossible, so to speak. Okay, so next up, his yellow. It's pretty good. Well, no, let's say what it really is. It's very good, especially for its passive ability. Power and responsibility for 8 yellow, it makes 4 basics into webs. It's not the most bang for your buck for that purpose, but I still have it at 5 because of that passive. When a web tile is matched, you gain 1 purple, 1 red, and 1 blue AP. That's 3 free AP gained for any web tile being matched. Notice it doesn't say when you match one. When the enemy matches it, it still counts. As long as they get matched, not destroyed, not removed, matched, you get that AP. Also keep in mind that this says purple, red, and blue. He doesn't have a blue power. Who has blue powers? A lot of the other webheads. Silk, Spider-Man 3-star, 4-star, Spidey 2099. Both Spideys, both Peter Parkers in the 5-star realm. Anyone else you could think of, or maybe you don't want to use a web character with them. Anyone else that could abuse blue AP, this is another way to generate it. Make a lot of webs. Let the blue AP flow into someone else. Maybe you have someone else in mind that likes blue AP. Maybe Polaris. Maybe someone else. You get the point. A very easy way to make AP, and the enemy can help you do it. Finally, there's Venom Blast. Easily his most lackluster one. I have it down at 3 because it doesn't really change too much from rank 3 to rank 5. And it does a 1-turn stun and does a piddly amount of damage at rank 3. Or you can up the damage to, it's an okay amount for the cost. For 6 red, that's an okay nuke with still 1-turn stun. Personally, I'll keep it down at 3. I don't need all that damage because the 1-turn stun's all I really need while I'm creating all that AP, because it doesn't create all that AP at lower ranks. And if this goes to lower ranks, you create less web tiles and less damage on your surprise. I'd rather keep the surprise damage up and the amount of AP created up. That's just me though. Your results may vary, of course. If you're going to put a support on them for a one-on-one fight, obviously Arrow's Arrow is amazing. You could also use the Totem Dagger. The Totem Dagger allows you to create 2 free web tiles, one for each of the first 2 turns, and it also states that you cause damage to a random enemy whenever you, a web user, creates, well, whenever a web tile is created, I should say it correctly. Because if the enemy, let's say there's an enemy chasm out there and they make a web tile, you still do damage to them. So yeah, there's a couple of good supports Miles could use in this fight. If you're looking for offense, Totem Dagger is good for it. If you're looking for defense, staying alive longer, I highly suggest Arrow's Arrow or Leapfrog, somewhere along those lines. If you need any extra help, feel free to drop me a line. Do it on YouTube, Twitch, do it on Reddit, Discord, maybe on Xbox Live. My name's the same everywhere. Drop me a message and I'll see if I can throw some suggestions your way. But without further ado, I'm going to turn on the animations because I always do this every time. And we're going to get into our fight. Miles versus Spider-Woman. Let's get into it. All right, let's see. We're going to want purple and red and yellow. Note that Spider-Woman uses purple and red and black. In other words, if we see purple or red available, we need to take it before she does. Her black costs 9. It's cheaper than I thought by 1 AP, so I'll give her that. And the purple is cheaper than I thought too, at 8. I think maybe there was a buff that I forgot. That might be true. I think she might have got buffed at some point to have these amounts lowered. I can't quite recall that, but still, her red's at 14. It does deal some damage, but just, yeah, no thank you. Still though, these are a little pricey for what she does, and I stand by the idea that they're a little too expensive overall. Now, if we can get invisible, we pretty much immune to everything she does. Without, maybe her red would hit us, but even then, it's not that much to worry about. I think we're going to throw this out there now. Why not, right? Let's go hide. There we go. And then I don't see any purples or reds available. I do see black, but she can have it. We'll mess around with this, right? let's take this yellow because it includes a web, so I'll get more AP back for it. See, she just matched one with a web, so I gained a red, a blue, and a purple. Let's take more yellow. Why not? Hey, how's it going, Luxie? Good to see you. And I don't see any good... Nope, don't see any good purple or red or... Well, I guess there's a yellow I could make. That match 4 of team-ups is distracting me, but really she's only going to get 1 black out of that. So I guess we'll let her have it. I'll take that yellow. She is seeking redemption, though. This means that almost anything I do to her is going to do pretty much no damage. If you want to see more details. So, she intercepts targeted attacks, resisting 70% of the damage dealt. That's a large percent. Like, just think of current day damages that go out at the 5-star level. There's a lot of heavy numbers that get put out constantly nowadays. And just to remove 70% of that damage just because she has that countdown out there, it's pretty cool. But it still takes 9 black to get it out there. So, anyways, if the attack is below 5,003 damage, she dodges, resisting 100% of it. So, in other words, if I don't have any way of getting rid of this tile right now, there is no incentive for me to cast any of Miles' powers while that countdown's out there on the board. Food for thought. I am going to not take that match 4 of blue. That seems like a bad idea. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to let her do it. Oh, there's no other way to do this. Okay, here's my conundrum. If I move that web, if that web goes up, right, I'd have a match 5 of purple on my hands, but I don't want to give it to her. So computer always makes a match 4, right? So if I just leave that match 4 blue alone, she would do it. Well, where's another match I can make? Well, if I make this team up match, it destroys the blues. Obviously that destroys the blues. Obviously these greens would move the blues. I think I have to disrupt it. Such a nice setup when those happen, but it's not for me this time. So there she goes, flipping out of the way. There's no reason not to put these out there. Now here's a fun thought. If I stun her, nothing should be active on her. I should be able to still do full damage if I stun her. I don't believe this countdown would still affect at the time, but I could be wrong. This might be some lab work we have to do right now. So let's get some purple ready and do a surprise to her so that we can test out that theory. I guess I'll take this for now. I need to get to some purple though. Don't take that purple up there. I need that. I need it for our test. Oh, they stunned me. Notice my invisibility tile's still out there, but I'm stunned right now, so I'm taking damage. And as soon as he comes back out, yep, I'm back to being invisible. Because my tile still exists. Okay. She's open for it. I just need to get some purple to let it rip. I don't see any purple available though, which is annoying. If I match that yellow on over, which is good for me, it'll give her the purple match. And I don't want to give her the purple. She's already taken so much from me. Let's go with this. I was hoping a purple would drop. Ouch. Oh, look. I dodged the invisibility. The invisibility let me dodge the fear trap she put out there. It's kind of funny how that works. Like, you trigger a trap and yet you're still dodged it because you're invisible. It's more like dodging an ambush, I guess, at this point. I don't see any more purples or reds. Let's just do that yellow now that it's safe. I missed that purple, didn't I? Bad pie. Okay. Magneto. Take that team up into green. Oh boy, he just gave her a bunch of red. Well, I guess I'll take this red then. Stockpile some of this. I'm just trying to mess around and see certain things work, but she is being stubborn. And that's okay. We'll still make it through. Okay, there's some more purple. Okay, she's going to put out some more fear traps. That's where it gets a little dangerous. That means there's at least 7 traps out there right now. And they do decent damage. But as long as I'm invisible, I don't have to worry so much. But I think she's about to die. We saw the hide and seek animation. We saw the yellow power and responsibility animation. Let's take a look at Venom Blast, right? Just a big old hand in your face. There we go. And finally, we could just end this, right? This will do more than enough damage right there. Just imagine, if you would, all those traps out there. I kind of wanted to see her get her Seeking Redemption out there to see if it would still trigger it. I feel like it would, but it's okay. There we go. Honestly, Miles is still a pretty good character this day. He's not like nowadays meta or anything, but he can help you earn so much by being invisible and generating AP for the group, and not to mention just that big old purple nuke when you have so many webs out there, and put other web heads with him to help them benefit. Infinity Spider-Man makes a lot of webs, and so does Spidey 2099. They're a good squad when they run together. You could also switch one of them out with Silk for healing and damage built in together, or just 4-star Spider-Gwen if you want group healing whenever webs are matched. There's a lot of ways he could be used and abused. That blue just feeds so many people's stuns. So, anyways, that's it. Our new Crash of the Titans for Miles against good old Spider-Woman. And now we will have a better version of this up on the playlist, right? Right. Thank you very much for joining me, Luxie, John, and Seth. I missed something there. I'm sorry, Luxie. Felt like Trash was long-winded, but glad to see it's taking you some time too. You know, honestly, I was just kind of... I wanted certain things to happen, but it didn't happen, so I just said, down with you. Go away. What's up, Dark? Without her black, she wasn't really a threat to me. We both chased purple, but going invis kept her traps from bothering me. The same just happened there. It's kind of cool. Seth, what was that? Pi, do you ever do these challenges with a hero that only has one cover? I find myself in that position frequently since I champion 4 stars the least. It's a fun challenge. I have done that before in the past. Actually, before I was running this channel, honestly, I had to go through some of these Crash the Titans with minimal covered people. I still remember to this day the hardest one I ever did, true story, was 3-star Magneto was the opponent, and you had to use Nick Fury. And I think my Nick Fury was like 4 covered. It was like I had like 1 yellow, 1 purple, 2 blue. And I remember it took me over an hour to do it. I kept just trying over and over again. And this was pre-supports, okay? So before supports really got into the game to help me out. So obviously I was using AP boosts when I could, or damage boosts. And the only way I got it to work was I finally devised a plan. I'm like, okay, A, you got to get lucky, right? A lucky board makes a big difference. But B, I wanted to abuse Nick Fury's blue, Demolition, because it says it like makes like 7 traps, and they all go off at the same time if the enemy matches 1. So I was like, so if I get 20 blue, I'm going to make 14 traps, and all of them will go off if the enemy matches 1? Bet. And so like it took me a few matches to get 20 blue before Magneto just nuked me with his red or his blue. I had to make sure to manage those colors on the board. But once I got 20 blue to myself, cast them both, yeah, Magneto just matched 1, and bye, dude. But yeah, I've had plenty of those situations in the past. Nowadays, I'd say it's a lot easier because we do have supports. We have things like well, like Eros Arrow, which even at rank 1, if you don't have it rank 5, that's okay. Even at rank 1, it mitigates so much damage from the enemy that it makes it laughable. Leapfrog at least rank 3 helps you send you away, or invisible. I'm sorry, it makes you invisible if you're in trouble. Rank 1 could add some protection to you. And then you have other ones like, depending on what you're playing with, right? Like Lucky or Carol Communicator, which will add protect tiles. Korg adds to your health. It really just depends on what challenge you're going to go up against, what you would really need. But there's plenty of ways to mitigate your losses in Crash the Titans now with the right supports. I know it probably sounds trite for someone like me to say this because I have all these high level supports, right? But believe you me when I say it is possible. It's daunting. You could probably have to retry a few times. But if you need any help with them, I'm more than happy to sit down and, hey, what's your name? What alliance are you in? Let me check out your roster, and this is what I suggest to do. And it might take more than a couple of tries, because sometimes, like I said, board luck is a thing. It really is. Especially when you got a low-level character facing a Titan, as it were. But yes. Anyways. But yeah, I'm always happy to help out Seth. I've trying to remember, like, do I even have a low-level Miles? I don't know if I do. I might. Now I'm curious. Miles. My lowest one is for 4 stars at 284. Because I got one champed up and one I'm working on to do the max ascension. But yeah, it's definitely a thing. We've all gone through it. It's not easy, but it's doable now more than ever. It really is. So I wish you luck. If you need any help with it, reach out. I'm happy to help. What's that, Dark? Remember those early Crash days? Totally, man. Early Fury needed all the AP to get that yellow beefed. That fight took so much time. Man, and that was early Fury. Before he had a 6 yellow that could potentially do stuns and all those other things. That was early Fury with, like, what was it? Wasn't it like almost like a 10 cost? But he didn't have so many requirements. I remember, like, all the other additions that came on were like, at least they were there, but they got buffed if you had the AP. Nowadays, he doesn't get any add-ons unless you have the 5 AP just, banked on each color. Yeah, nowadays he's a lot easier to abuse, but that's Fury, not Miles. Oh, well. All right. Thanks again for joining, everybody. This was a lunch break. Haha. And I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for joining me, Seth, Luxy, John, Mark, Dark. I appreciate everything, as always. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for days 3 and 4's Welcome to Shield for Moonstone. Later, everybody.